keep going. It's cliche, but I feel like I'm only here because I didn't give up. That's it. Literally, that's it. I've wanted to give up probably like once a month. I might want to give up like once a month, but I just don't. That's it. Like literally, that's it. Just keep going and something good might happen. What's up? It's El Dre. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm here at NAMM with BeatStars, chopping it up. Kendrick Lamar has always been one of my biggest inspirations because I did start in music wanting to be a rapper. So the whole West Coast, just like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre is a big inspiration. Most of my inspiration, I wouldn't say are from LA, but I will say Dr. Dre and Kendrick from LA, those are like two of my top inspirations for sure, especially from the city. A lot of producers maybe start getting on YouTube to do like tutorials or whatever just to like get more of an audience. And a lot of times you do it like I did it to kind of find an audience to sell beats to. But then over time you start to realize, all right, my audience is all producers now. I feel like that's kind of like a trap that happens a lot, but it ended up working in my favor. But that's really how I started, just trying to like teach people what I know and hopefully build an audience to somehow sell beats. That's definitely like my claim to fame, I'd say. Pretty much at the time, I was doing like a series of flipping songs from just shows I liked. So I think I started with a song from the theme song from Up, the Disney movie. That was the first one that kind of popped off on like Twitter and stuff like that. And then what I would do is I would just like have people comment, well, what show they want to see next. I usually will say that at the end of the video. Someone recommended Steven Universe. I haven't seen the show yet, so I went and watched the whole show. I loved the show, it was amazing. So that really inspired the song, and I had like the context behind it, and I created that. And then I put it out in like, I wanna say like March 2020. It did okay. The video did go viral on TikTok, but the sound didn't. At first, it was kind of just like, you know, it had some numbers, but it wasn't anything like crazy. But then I wanna say around October that year, October 2020, chilling on the couch with my girl, and I hear it and stuff. So I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then I just started to hear it more and more and more on TikTok, and it just skyrocketed from there. So there's no method to the madness. I didn't really do anything except for make it and put it out there on TikTok, and I was already established on TikTok a bit. So some people just started using it, and then it just took off. Lo-fi is definitely still my thing. I consider myself Lo-fi Dre. I got it tatted on my hand and everything. But I will say like I've shifted a little bit. But for me, lo-fi has always just been chill beats. Chill beats with RC20 a bit, and that's what it has been. So I never really like to box myself into actual lo-fi beats to study to aesthetic, because I've done anything from like that kind of vibe to more like J Dilla sounding stuff. And then now I've been doing like some ambient stuff without any drums, but it still kind of has that lo-fi vibe to it at the end of the day. I myself have been listening to a lot of just like peaceful, just like piano and ambient stuff. Like for me, lo-fi and just like chill hop in beats is good for most scenarios, but then sometimes you really want to just be zenned out. And that's when I find myself listening. When I really want to focus or like be in my head and actually think, that's when I'm listening to more ambient, peaceful, just like piano stuff. And I just think that it's getting more popular with a lot of different artists, like Flawed Mangoes, for example. He's got that guitar and it's like beautiful. There's no drums and it's just emotional and everything. And it's like the perfect backing track to so many scenarios. So with the rise of him and a few other people like One Heart and all these other like super ambient stuff, it's just on the rise right now. I've always just been really into just art, aesthetics. My wife paints and stuff like that. So her vision shows a lot through like my branding and my music. And that's just something I've always been like super inspired to do. I watch all these shows, I watch all these cartoons that have like these beautiful worlds, like anime and all that kind of stuff. I take inspiration from all that stuff. My recent album, Lofi Chill, the artwork is inspired by like one of my favorite animes, which is Samurai Champloo. And I hired this artist to kind of get all those elements into the artwork. And that's just something I like to do, just incorporate just literally anything I do on a day-to-day, stuff I watch, all that kind of stuff is me. That's all me. And I just hope that it shows through with like the art and design of the way I do things. There's definitely juggling, because for me personally, I've been doing it for so long, but I can say that I hate it maybe, I don't want to say 50% of the time, but I don't really enjoy the content aspect of it all the time. Long form stuff, I enjoy that a bit more. But like all the short form stuff, because it's like you gotta keep it up, you gotta keep going. And when it comes to short form, you have to stick with trends and stuff like that if you want to like go higher and higher. I guess my main advice would be, and it's super cliche, but the only reason why I'm still at the level I am is because I've just learned to adapt. That's the main thing I could say, is just like, things are always going to shift. There's always ups and downs. For example, I mentioned earlier, Married Life is a song I did. I made the video super tailored to TikTok, and it didn't blow up on TikTok. But then I randomly decided to post it on Twitter, and for some reason it popped off. 3 million views, Rap Genius posted it, Complex posted it, all these different things posted it, just because I make sure to spread myself on all these different platforms. And whenever a new platform comes around, I make sure to hop on it and do what I can to like make myself known. So I would just say you gotta adapt, and just don't be afraid to just spread yourself out on whatever platforms are available to you. Definitely take advantage of that. 2 things. One of them is, I guess I always come from like a scarcity mindset, just from growing up in the hood and this and that. So like, anytime I had a viral moment on any platform, I'm like, oh, this could be it. This could be it. So like, I just tried to keep on keeping it on and just keep on doing more. And then, so that's one thing. So anytime something popped up that was new or different, I would just try it out. And then also, the second half of that is, I started on Instagram. That was like my main platform. And I guess it would be experience. So Instagram is like, I'm posting. You know, I'd sell a beat here and there, I do something, but it didn't translate to like streams or anything like that. And then TikTok came around. For me, the reason why I had so much success on TikTok is because I was there like from the jump. Once it started, one of my homies blew up. He was like the first producer on there. His name is Lucian. And I saw what he was doing. I was like, oh, let me get on that. And then I saw that success. And then even with YouTube, I was doing a different style of content on YouTube, but Instagram. All right, let me try YouTube. And then I started seeing some success there. So just over time, seeing the success on the different platforms, that's just led me to believe that, you know, new platforms are going to come and you got to get on them, because there's always potential to like have new reach and new fans see you. There's different ways to go about it. For example, right now I'm doing like my journey learning piano. I just started learning piano last year. So I started my learning piano from scratch, no more samples. So pretty much I'm like filming just my process. I'm like interviewing people, talking to people. They're like 20, 25-minute videos of me just like practicing piano, challenging myself, talking to people to learn new things. It's the content I consume on YouTube, and a lot of other people do too. So, and then there's other like more entertaining forms. Like I'm sure you're familiar with like Kyle Beats, where he's like going and pretending he's going undercover to a beat battle, or like Ed Talenti, he's like taking Sabrina Carpenter's songs and turning it into something else. So that kind of long form content that is like built on entertainment and is like long enough to like be something that, all right, I'm gonna sit down and eat and watch this type of thing. Personal branding is super important, especially now, because it's so easy to make content. It's so easy to post. It's all free. Like, you post on all these apps for free. Anybody can do it. So what it comes down to is people start to become your fan because of you. Most producers are making decent sounding stuff. So like, your music, anybody's music could be good, but then some people might just fall in love with who you are, how you just experience life. And also, like, for producers selling beats, for example, you know, these days you got the streamers that are like bringing rappers on the streams, or like how Kenny Beats had the series where he's like producing and he has the artist with him. That's one way to show your studio sessions, and then rappers see that, and then maybe you start selling some beats. Like Kyle Beats, he does all the time. He finds rappers and he's doing videos with them, and then those songs are popping off. And I'm sure he has countless rappers like wanting to buy beats from him now. That's always a strategy. For me personally, I don't capitalize on that nearly as much as I should be doing. It takes a lot of manpower. I mean, you can do it on your own, but like, it's a lot of work to like not only film videos, but then cut them up. And then also what I've noticed is when you cut something from YouTube and put it on TikTok, it might not hit the same as if you actually just made the video for TikTok. A lot of short form stuff, people want to see it like in the format that it's for on certain apps. It's all different, like TikTok, Reels, or just Instagram posts. It's kind of just different ways to look at it and different ways to make content for each platform. One thing about working with all these big brands is it's really, again, like my personal branding and just who I am, because it's not even always just about the metrics and the views. A lot of these bigger companies, they just want new creative ways to like have ads and stuff. For example, I did one with Ray-Bans recently where they just wanted me to like, you know, take some clips, sample the sounds from the Ray-Bans glasses, and like make a beat with it and stuff like that. I always try to make sure I'm aligned with the company and stuff like that. But I haven't really ran into too many things where I've had to just say, no, I'm not going to do that. And also I do have a manager that handles like the negotiating and the contracts and stuff like that, which is a huge help because they really will like be like, hey, you want to do this for $200? And then there's a lot of people that be like, oh yeah, but then my manager comes in, that 200 turns into 2,000, 5,000, whatever it may be, because they're just assuming that you're just going to accept anything if you don't have that experience. So it's definitely good to have like someone behind you or just some kind of negotiation skills as well, for sure. 90% of brands, they just reach out to me. And that's just because of how I've positioned myself. And then it's kind of like, you know, my first brand deal was with Honda. And then my second one was with Samsung. Just kind of sampling sound, just random. At Samsung, they flew me to CES. I made a beat with one of their blenders, like just super random stuff. But then other companies start to get wind of that. So like once you start doing some, you might end up on whoever's radar, and then they might start seeing you and reaching out to you, and it can go from there. And then every now and then, occasionally I'll reach out. But usually when I'm reaching out, it's just because I want something for free or something like that. And then it might turn into something. One is like trusting your gut, I guess, because for me, when I was blowing up, a lot of people reached out. But my current manager at Dill, he was one of the few people that, I don't know, I could just tell he was like real and supportive of what I was doing. So it was that kind of situation where it's not like I looked in and saw he had all this prior experience or anything like that. But I kind of felt like he was a good guy. You know, I talked to my mom about it and stuff like that. If you're getting a bunch of contracts and brand deals and stuff like that, and you just don't know what to do, then that's when you probably should get someone. But I've never really, again, he reached out to me. I don't even know the process to reach out to a manager unless it's like people you know. Because eventually, when you start to blow up or this or that, you start to meet peers. My fellow YouTubers like Simon Servita, Ed Salenti, Kyle Beats, we had a Discord where literally we'll just talk about it. So a lot of them don't have managers. But since we're all like peers, we'll be like, oh, they're paying me this amount for this amount. So then everybody can be more informed. So if you get into groups like that, that's one way around it. But I know a lot of people are just like, oh, I need a manager. You might not. Until you see some big contracts that you're just totally uncomfortable with, then that's when you know. A few years ago, I did an album with UMG, and their classical label, Deutsche Grammophon. And that was like big. That was big. So it's like, I definitely would not have done that on my own. So I had my manager and an attorney with my manager and stuff like that, go over the contracts and all this back and forth negotiating. And not only that, I was doing like photo shoots and music videos, and my manager was just there with me all the way, making sure I'm good, making sure I got water, just like simple stuff like that. So once any like big thing where it's like, okay, this is serious, you should know by then. BeatStars was like right off rip when I first started my career, because that's what I thought I wanted to do, or at least that's what I thought I needed to do. That's like the only way to make money, I guess. Straight out of college, 2018, got on BeatStars, and I was like grinding. And I did sell beats. I remember like my first year, I made like $4,000, and that was like super huge at the time. Like I bought my first car, I bought like this busted Mazda and shit like that. So yeah, BeatStars was definitely like off rip my first actual like support system and way to make money as a producer, for sure. BeatStars was really just the only way I could imagine it. You could try to make your own website and stuff like that, but not only is BeatStars a platform that's good and has all the features and this and that with the contracts and all that kind of stuff, but also artists are familiar with it too. So then it's kind of like as opposed to just having a random website, it's kind of like a trusted system, you know what I'm saying? So people can actually, oh, you heard this on BeatStars, yo, send me your BeatStars, stuff like that. Because I remember back in the day, even if I was doing like custom tracks, then you have like the contracts built in that you can customize, and it's like all that support that you have, which is like super important. Old Town Road was like from BeatStars, so you never know who's watching, you never know. And that's just, again, whether it's social media platforms or whatever. Earlier when I meant like spread yourself out on any platform you can, that includes stuff like BeatStars and like marketplaces and stuff like that, for sure. Honestly, what I can say is I'm really just focused on happiness right now. I don't even have anything like too professional. Right now, I'm just like getting back to being a student, because again, like once you get into the content stuff, it starts to feel like a job and this and that. You got bills to pay and all that kind of stuff. So once you reach success, it don't stop there. You know what I'm saying? I did get comfortable a bit, and I kind of started to lose the love of just making music. So recently with this learning piano series and just like coming to things like this, I'm just trying to get back in tune with just being a student, learning stuff, buying new gear, learning how to use it, making new stuff, and just experimenting. So I'm kind of taking it easy right now and just like focusing on making myself happy and just like doing what I love.